Well, and I won't tell anybody that you're getting a degree in IT but can't figure out how to work a mic. It's fine.
And I'm computer inept. You know, it worked fine not very long ago, so that's what I get for not checking it. I was busy making dinner for friends of ours instead of checking to make sure all of my stuff worked. So, my mistake.
No worries. All right, so is this critique? Are you ready for the guillotine? I mean, the very, very accommodating and sweet suggested advice that you're about to get.
Hey, Ava told me that you would not make me cry, so I'm just going to hope that she knows what she's talking about.
Listen, you know, if everybody's a baby, it's not my fault. I pick emotional people, that's all.
Well, that's fair.
Although I would consider it a personal accomplishment if I make you cry, so.
A personal accomplishment? You know. All right. I think that's fair.
It's going to go on my resume. 2015 made Justin Lofely cry. All right. So, so this is your first time. I haven't gotten to be anybody's first in a while. I'm excited. I'll be gentle. Sort of. So what we're going to do is you go up and click on the screen share button, and you're going to bring up whatever you're using to show your 5 photos, and I'm going to grade you on a scale of 0 to 3. 0 means, why the heck did you bring this to critique? And there's nothing good about it. Number 1 is that it showed promise but missed the mark. Number 2 means that it's commendable, and 3 means that it's exemplary. So we're looking for at least 5 points for you to advance to the next level. Are you ready, my young Jedi?
I am on board with this. I'm not smart enough to make this computer work appropriately, but I'm getting to screen share.
Okay, so over on the left-hand side, you're just looking for the second icon, green one, and then you'll just select whatever the program is that you want to use.
Screen sharing.
And then we'll go from there.
Share.
So
it's coming.
It's not too late to pick a different major. I don't know if I tease your thing.
You can tease me about it. It's fine. So it's going to think about this for a minute.
Yep, I'm seeing a gray screen.
Oh, and it
there we go.
And it looks awful. Nice.
No, it looks okay on my end.
Okay, good, because it looks terrible on my side.
Okay, so you're going to tell me a little bit about the image and what went into creating it and what you like and don't like, and then I'm going to grade it.
Okay, so there's an interesting after story to this image, but the story for how it came about is that I was I work with a lot of scrap metal vendors, and this is a building at a scrap metal yard. And the first time I walked in it, I was like, yeah, I really need to photograph something here. So it took a fair amount of planning before I decided what I wanted to do and found the right model and the right setting, or the right kind of ambience that I wanted to create with the photo. But I wanted to create a duality between her trying to hide or cover up and the kind of stare that you're getting from her directly into the lens. So I purposely put her in the middle of the frame, even though that's, you know, basically against the photography rules, but I felt it played into the story. Something that's a hindrance to me, I guess, is that I'm colorblind. But
Okay.
and so I try with some of my photography to make the world, or make the photographs look like the world is the way that I see it. And when I posted this for critique in a group, several people mentioned that it was interesting that I went with such muted tones, but there are green barrels on the left side of the photo. And it came out that I didn't realize that they were green, or that they were still green. So,
Okay.
but,
Yeah, I could see how that could be a pretty big handicap.
Sure.
Did you retouch them over again? Because they're definitely not too green now.
Yes, I did. I went back and toned them down a little. It took some of the green channel out over that portion of the image. Felt like that was easier to look at for other people, less distracting.
I love that you were brave with the image. You're being very brave with the content. I love the dichotomy of having this gorgeous, sexy, naked in this really industrial, grimy, kind of dusty, smoky setting. That's something that I love to do a lot, so that's gaining you bonus points with me. But I love her pose and the energy coming from her body, and I love that you took a lot of risks with the pose with her, and I think it works in this one. It doesn't follow almost any of my posing rules at all, and I think because it doesn't follow any of them, that's why it works. You know, Picasso said, know the rules so you can break them like an artist, and that's exactly what you're doing here. I'm not a huge fan of the light fall off and how it's like sort of like 50% vignetted and it comes around the bottom. We're losing her feet almost entirely and the edge of her elbow, so I think it's falling off a little too harshly and too close to her figure. But I would like to see that vignette, I think, carried around and also softened a little bit so that it's not quite so harsh. But for what the image is, I love it. And the way that it's set up. I would have liked to have seen just a little bit more of a shallow depth of field so that she really popped out from it. But I love the muted tones and the coloring all the way around. Not like I ever do that in any of my work. I think the caution sign is distracting behind her. Text is always, you have to be really careful with it because people always want to read the text. So their eyes, when they see letters, will go because it's familiar and want to read whatever's on it, no matter how minuscule or random it is. So I think that it fits with the industrial scene, but I think because of the letters, it's distracting. So the only thing that you're losing points for me is with this shadow. I think that's not adding anything to it. It's distracting. But I do love the light on her. I just don't like the outline of the shadow and how there's like nothing on it. So I'm gonna give this one an exemplary because I've seen a lot of your work and I think this is one of your better pieces.
Well,
so
thank you.
Starting off strong. That's 3 points.
All right. So I put you on my other computer so I could see you while you were talking to me.
Okay.
Now I gotta go back. Oops. That is not me. Well, it was me, but it's not what I was trying to do. Come on, computer. Play nice with me.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, it doesn't want to.
So can we just set all 5 photos in an album so you can just click the arrow over? Or do we have to pull them up individually?
That's what I was hoping to do, but it does not want to cooperate with me.
Okay, no worries.
Let's see if it will just let me add them to a picture library.
I'm not I'm not appreciating the irony that you're an IT guy. We had a couple of days. I think it was Martin was the worst. Like, I must have tried to do his level 4, level 9 critique. I don't remember which one it was, but we must have tried to do it 3 times before we got it because Google just hated me and would not connect and wouldn't let me do it. There we go. Okay, tell me about this one.
So this was shot at a local Air Force museum, and I wanted to get a real kind of 40s era feel to it. So we picked this aircraft specifically for the Army Air Corps logo, and her styling is clearly from the era. The hair was done the same way. I did have to take some stuff out of the photo, and if I were to go back and do it again, I would take out the little cement pad that the back wheel is sitting on. That kind of bothers me now, but and I would probably change the sky and give it a different look, something maybe a little more dramatic, but overall I was pretty happy with this one.
I agree with both of those suggestions. As far as the model, usually when you have models, you want to do one of two things. When you have their shoulders up, you actually want to pull the hair away to show the neck because it elongates the form, rather than having it in front. We're losing a lot of her neck in the photo. And the only other thing that bothers me is her left hand. The way that you have it looks a little bit awkward against the edge of the plane, and because of the angle that it's at and because it's black and white, we're losing the line of her back. So it's making her look a lot wider than it is because her back is actually ending right at the line of her arm, but you can't tell because we're only seeing the line of the arm. I think if you had actually brought that arm up and had it follow the line of the plane, it would have led, both of your leading lines would have led right into her body, and I think that would have been a much stronger shot. I'm not sold on the expression, and the line of her neck looks really thick too because of the angle that it's at. So this one's missing it for me. I love the concept of it. I think that you were definitely onto something there. So I'm going to give you a commendable. I think that it shows a lot of promise, but I think that there were quite a few things that you could have tweaked with the posing and the way that it was shot. I definitely agree that a different sky would have made more impact. It's a lot of really dark grays all coming in and converging, and it's kind of flattening your image a little bit for me. So I'm going to give you 2.
Excellent. Let's see if I learned now, and I can. Hey, look at that.
Much better. I like this one a lot. Tell me about this one.
So this one it took a little while to put together because I needed to find the vehicle, and the model is somebody that I've known for quite a while, and she's got a great pinup look. So I've shot her several times in different pinups, but this one's probably my favorite. When I posted it for critique, Martin had some interesting insight into that. I had picked this vehicle intentionally because of the way that it looked, but he pointed out that it may have been a better choice to pick something that was more restored because she kind of fits in that era, so the rust and dilapidation of the vehicle doesn't kind of jibe with her look, which I would agree with now.
Yeah, but I like it. I like it. I don't think it's ruining it. But I like the dichotomy of beautiful women with, rusty and dilapidated old things. I think that's always a really interesting visual play. I love her pose from like the hips up. Her left leg is really awkward in this one. You have this like perfect, just lounged out, like she was just laying there. That's just what she does every Thursday. That's where she sunbathes, kind of thing. It's a very relaxed, natural kind of thing, and you lose the believability of the pose in that leg because that looks so incredibly uncomfortable and unnatural to me that that's where it says that it's posed. You had it right until that. That's the only thing that's throwing it off. I think if you had bent that knee and just kind of hooked the inside of the heel on the handle of the door, it probably would have worked, or just crossed that leg over the other one and let it sit up. But as it is, it's not working. I can totally see now that you told me, I can see where you're seeing color and where you're not in the images by the way that you're retouching and the colors that you're pulling out. I think that this is actually going to be a really strong asset for you because it creates these really interesting edits that are somewhere between like pseudo spot coloring and sepia toned and muted, but some of the colors still come in. It's very interesting, and I've never seen anybody else shoot like this, probably because there aren't that many colorblind photographers that are still shooting in color. So I actually quite like it. I think it's going to be a strength of yours. It's going to be like one of those interesting things that, 100 years from now when your work is hanging in museums, they're going to be like, and did you know that he was colorblind? Which is why now we know that all these colors, I can totally see a story built around it.
Well, and clearly,
so I like.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
The one color that I can see well is red, which so you'll see red frequently in my photography because of that.
Yeah, I'm guessing blues and greens are tough for you.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, because the sky's totally black and white.
There you go.
It's like shades of gray. But I like it. It's one of the things that I would have pulled out otherwise. I think that would be a selling feature for you. I think you should just embrace that, and that should be like that nifty little artist about you. So I'm gonna give this one an exemplary too. No, I'm not. I'm gonna give it a commendable. I'm gonna give you 2 points, a high 2 points, because that like really bothers me. That's enough to knock it down for me. And I see a little bit of blue in it, but that's a difficult thing for you to overcome. But I think it's just bothering me because there's no color in it, so it's almost looking like spot coloring. It's not fitting in with the rest of the image. Did you add that sky? I'm guessing you did.
I did, yeah.
Yeah. So it's because it's a composited sky and there's no color, it's very obvious that it was cut out and added and it's not blending real well. One of the things that I like to do when I do that is I'll always, once I have the image laid out the way I want, I'll take it all and copy the layers and flatten them down and just put a really light color cast over everything so that it kind of softens the severing between the different layers because it adds the same color elements all around. That helps the sky a lot when you're doing that. So,
okay.
It's commendable. Quite there. I still really like it though.
Well, thank you. Let's see.
All right, tell me about this one.
So this is another pinup style image. Shot it around the kind of Coke commercial theme. Again, it's got a really prominent red cast to it because that's the way that I see things. So I like the kind of combination between her hair color, the lip color, and the Coca-Cola symbol, which probably I should have taken out, but I didn't. And then I like to shoot high key.
Yeah, be careful with that.
Yeah. I like to shoot high key, even to the point of I know that we're losing her skirt, especially on the right side of the image, but that was a choice that I made. I like it that way. I know not everybody feels that way, and then there's a fair amount of head space at the top of it that probably could have been cut out. I could have brought it in a little closer. that would probably be the major change that I would make to it if I were going to do it again.
So losing, I'm fine with that idea, and I've seen them done well where we lose some information and blow up the highlights and it works. Here it doesn't in the skirt because it's only in the skirt. So it looks like an obvious mistake, not intentional. And part of that is because her skirt is white and her top is like a really beige. So we didn't lose any of the detail in that. So it looks like you just didn't have your exposure right. There's the problem that causes is that because we have everything else in color, we have our skin tones, and it's probably being accentuated even more because we're on the Hangout. You'll have to go back and re-watch it a little bit, but she's getting severed right at her waistline. Like I can see a little bit of the detail of the lace, but she's just getting amputated in the shot, and very harshly. So that one's going to lose points for me there. That said, I love the styling and I love the red theme between the hair, the lips, the nails, and the Coke bottle. But you have to be careful about using logos when you're not working for them because those are trademarked. Can't do that. So overall, I really love this shot. I'm going to give it another really, really high 2 because I really want to give it a 3. This is one of my favorites from you, but for me, that's a big one. So I'm all for doing it, but you have to like commit and it's going to be evenly without, so you can tell it was intentional.
Okay. All right. One more.
Next one. Tell me about this one.
So this was a experiment into skin tone and tonality and making a contrast in an image. The models are both friends of mine. The one interesting piece in it is that she's a pretty small model, and her foot was not big enough to do what I needed it to do. So
okay.
I had to do some minor Photoshop work in the back end of that. But I think that the image came out really well, in my opinion, other than I understand that some people are not particularly fond of the pose because they're both looking down into a space that doesn't have anything in it, although I put my logo down there just for the fun of it.
Yeah, well done.
But yeah, I like it. I like the contrast between the two of them. And I was happy that he was strong enough to hold her up for long enough to take the photo.
So was this something that just came together, or did you have this pose in your head when you set out to do this shot?
No, I picked the pose. Yeah. So there were 6 poses that I wanted to do through. This is a series. This is one of the series, and yeah, this was one of the poses that I picked from it.
I love this one. I think it's beautiful. You're going to hear clicking from my dog in a minute because my kids just got home. Balance. I really like this shot. Again, you're very brave with your posing, and a lot of times these kind of things shouldn't work. I love the very creative implied nudity, and you did well at retouching it so that it worked. It's a little dark, especially for his skin tones. We're losing him, especially from his knees down. So I would have liked to have seen some more separation between him and the background. I don't think that you necessarily need all that empty space around them. I think it would have been stronger, cropped in a little bit closer and letting them kind of be the stars of the image. I don't know that the negative space is doing a whole lot for this. And is he holding something in his hand?
No, he's not. And that was something that if I had paid attention to it in the beginning, I would have had him changed the way he was holding his hand, but I
Okay,
didn't.
because I'm seeing like a spot of red underneath. Is that just a glitch in the?
Yeah, it must be. There's not any red underneath. It's
Okay,
you can see his fingertips, which are pretty white, but there's nothing underneath it.
okay. Yeah, I think that hand's just a little bit awkward. It's a little bit curled. You've kind of got that claw hand going on. And I think I will agree and say that if I had shot it, I love the idea of the pose, but I probably would have had him turn to her so that there was more interaction between the two of them, because their chemistry is a little bit severed from each other. But overall, it's a really brave shot, and it's really well executed. There's only a couple of things that I would change, so I'm going to give you a 2 for this one as well. I think it's a very high commendable shot. But I think there were a couple of little things that you could have tweaked that would have made it much stronger as an image.
Sounds good.
So, okay. So now you get to take me off screen share.
Okay.
And so this is your level 4. It's your first one. So let's talk a little bit about you being in the Arcanum and what you're looking to do and what it can help you with and where you're looking to go from here.
That's a good question. I'm kind of in a transition period at the moment. My wife's getting close to finishing her doctorate's degree, and then I'm deciding if I want to continue in the career that I'm in, if I want to pursue something else. I've been toying with the idea of going to law school. So I don't know. I'm not sure that I have any idea where I want to go currently, but
okay. And how does photography fit into that for you? Is that just like a hobby that you're working at, or are you just creating art? Is that something that you're looking to make money?
I do make money. I shoot a fair amount of boudoir, and
Okay.
I make pretty good money from that. And it's something that if I decide to go back to school, that I would continue doing to, supplement our household income. But I think I could be very happy with a boudoir studio and doing that full time. But it's hard to know. That's a scary leap to make.
Why?
I'm fond of the idea of the paycheck that's going to come twice a month, as opposed to, not knowing and maybe worrying about it.
Okay, so it's a stability thing for you. You'd rather have, my husband's this way. He would rather me make $500 every week and know that's coming in than have me have 1 month where I make $15,000 and 1 month where I make 1,000 and 1 month where I make nothing and 1 month where I make 8. That makes him crazy. He can't stand that.
Yeah.
So you fit into that category as well.
Yep.
Okay.
Definitely.
So if we could build you a steady paycheck from your boudoir, would you be more inclined to do that? Is that the only thing holding you back from doing photography full time, or?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay. Good to know. So I have a couple of things for that. I had the same issue. Is boudoir the only thing that you shoot? What else do you do?
That's the only thing that I shoot. I've shot weddings. I don't like it. I don't want to do it.
Don't do them then.
I don't shoot infants. In fact, it drives my wife nuts because this is our first child that you saw earlier, and she's like, "Why aren't you taking pictures of him?" I just don't like it. I don't enjoy shooting babies.
Even your own?
No,
you have to do it. It's a husbandly / daddy duty.
Yeah, well, I'm doing it.
Siding with your wife on this one.
I'm getting the monthly photos in, but
okay.
I'm getting the cell phone pics. It's just I'm not inclined to go and set up the studio and the lights, and I'm kind of the belief that there's only so many pictures of him sleeping in a basket that you can hang on the wall. So
I agree. That's fine. As long as you're cell phoning it up, I'm okay. You're reproved.
Cell phone's clear full of them.
So you would like to do photography. You would like it to be your income. You would just like to have a steady and solid income that you can rely on.
Yes.
That's your fear right now.
Yep.
Why is that important to you?
That's a good question. And, I've watched several of the other critiques over the last week, and you've asked this question to other people. And when you did, I kind of had to sit back and say, what is it about that scares you? And I think it's because I grew up in a family that didn't have a lot of money. And there were
Okay.
months where we worried about, paying all the bills, and are we still going to live in the same house? And so from that, there's a fear of not having that stability that comes
Okay.
with I know I'm going to make this much money and they're going to pay me twice a month, and I know what bills I have to pay. And
Okay. So the trade-off for giving into that fear is that you don't get to work for yourself and you don't get to pursue your art full time. You have to divide time between another job and a new baby and family and your artwork. Is that a worthy sacrifice for your comfortability?
that's a good question. And I've noticed, because he's only 3 months old, and there is a huge difference in the amount of time that I can devote to photography now. Before it wasn't a big deal if I was going to go out and shoot, and hey, I'm going to be gone for the rest of the night. But
Okay.
with him, I feel guilty if I'm gone all day for work, and then I come home and I'm like, hey, I got to leave again. I got another photo shoot, and
Even if you are making money.
yeah,
Right. Because time is a more valuable currency than money. And he's already 3 months old. How fast did that just go?
yeah, pretty fast.
And do you even remember what life was like without a little person?
It's getting harder to remember that.
Yeah, it doesn't last long. So I'm more inclined to guard your time than your money and to side with the idea that um, the thing that we should be cutting out are the things that don't make you happy and the things that you don't want to be doing. So if money was not an issue and we weren't considering that as a factor, what are you wasting your time on right now?
What am I wasting? Television. I need to stop watching television altogether.
Okay, let me rephrase. If how much money would you have to make a month to not feel concerned about this fear that you don't have enough money?
Four
Because we're
thousand
having
dollars.
okay, so let's say, because I could say, what if I said that you were going to make $5,000 a month from photography every month? Would you do it? And it's a no-brainer. But I have a different question for you. What if I was going to send you a $5,000 allowance every single month for the rest of your life, and you didn't have to work at all? Photography, law school, IT, nothing. All your bills were paid for, and that was no longer a concern, and we took that fear away. What would you want to spend your time doing?
Photography. That's what I would do. I would open a studio.
Okay.
'Cause it doesn't feel like going to work.
You're playing.
Yeah.
You're creating. Okay, because you're creative. You're like me. That's the same thing for me. Like I would still create my little paper mache things and make these giant epic doors. This is playtime for me. I'm playing dress up all day long. That's what I do now. I don't work. When I say I'm working, it's because I'm doing dishes or the laundry. Um, so that's where your energy should be. Now, here's my concern with your mentality right now, and this is really hard, and this is something a lot of people. I understand where you're coming from. Like we grew up so po that we couldn't afford the R on the end of the word. Like we were in a bad section of the neighborhood. We were the only, like the only single white mother family in there, and it got robbed a whole bunch of times, and our living room furniture were like the white plastic chairs from Walmart that cost $4. That was our living room furniture, and our mattresses were on the floor, and it was a big deal that we had mattresses. So I understand that. I really, really do. Like in my family's eyes, especially my mother, like we're really wealthy. and we're not. But comparatively, we are. You know, I make more money in a day than my mother has made in a month at a job that she hates. So I can totally relate, and I had all those fears as well. My problem is that you're letting that fear push you away from what you want to be doing, and you're letting that fear control your decisions instead of where you want to spend your time. So I'm more interested in conquering that fear and dismantling that so you can do what you want to do rather than you settling. Because here's what you do. You're going to take a job and you're going to go to school and you're going to find a job that financially provides for your family so that you have that sense of comfort so that you don't have to put your family through what you remember feeling as a child of wondering, how are we going to pay for things? Because that's something that a child shouldn't have to worry about, right?
Agreed. Absolutely.
And you are going to bank on the fact that eventually this good, well-paying, stable job is going to afford you at some point in the future when you're 65 and your knees hurt and you don't want to pick up the camera anymore and you're too tired to do anything, that then you can buy your freedom through your retirement later to do whatever you want with your time.
That is true.
Provided that you've lived that long.
Also true.
You know, because it is, like, you know, it's just as likely that you walk outside and get hit by a bus, or the zombie apocalypse happens, or, you know, any number of other things. So you're basing an awful lot of that on the fear for an imagined future, and you're sacrificing your present for it, which is all that we have right now. So let's work on the fear. The fear is that even if you are making money, that it's sporadic, and that it's not something that you can build a budget around because you make more some months than others, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, so what if we, what's your average package selling for right now?
$1,500.
Okay, and about how many are you doing a month right now?
2.
Okay, so you're only $1,000 off from what that minimum number of happiness is, right? Because you said 4,000 a month.
Yeah, that's true. And it's not that I couldn't have more clients. I could, but because I have the stable job, I've been very selective about which clients I pick.
Okay.
And I've priced myself much higher than everyone else in the area because I wanted to be selective and not deal with what comes with the low price sales mentality.
Okay. Well, that works on both too, because if you're making an average of $1,500 a session, you only need to book 3 sessions a month to hit your goal. That's 1 every 10 days.
Yeah, it sounds really easy.
It is really easy. You know, and you have the option too, because you can structure your business any way that you want to. So if you wanted to go full time, you know, there's 3 different kinds of business. There's low cost, high volume, which means you're shooting them for far less money when you're shooting more clients. And then there's the medium ground that's like a medium price, medium volume. And then there's the high end where they're paying a lot of money and you have very few clients, like 3 a month, which is what I do. You know, you're not that far off from me. Like, my average client is only spending $1,000 more than yours. My average client drops $2,500 on the session. So really, you could be at my rates and you could book 2 sessions a month and you would have the money that you need to support your lifestyle right now without anything else weighing it. Now, that being said, I have a lot of people that grit their teeth and sneer a little bit when I tell them that I offer payment plans to my clients. But let me tell you what that did for me, especially when I was doing weddings and I had $10,000 and $12,000 packages. Not everyone can afford to come in and drop $1,500 on a portrait session with you, especially for pictures of themselves in their underwear. You can't even make the argument for like the heirloom quality. Like, we are the epitome of a luxury item in the middle of a luxury service in the middle of a down economy. Like, yep. You can't get much more above us except for maybe, I don't know, pet photography. But it would have to be like Pet Boudoir or something, because people love their pets like they love their kids. So you know, you can make the argument for the loved ones and the importance of having family heirlooms and, you know, milestones like birthdays and weddings and stuff like that. That's an easy sell. Telling somebody they should make a mortgage payment to have pictures of themselves in their underwear is a little bit more difficult,
Sure.
especially if they don't have the money. You know, there are some months that I could not afford to buy a portrait session for myself, that I couldn't drop $2,500 on myself to afford me. What everybody can afford is their price point that fits with their budget. So, for example, usually what I do, because I hate math, my 20 image box is $2,500. I sell it to them for $2,400. I give them $100 off because I love them and I had so much fun shooting their session. That breaks it down into 12 very easy payments of $200. And then what they do is, because it's a 20 image box, I'll break that down and I will give them 2 images every month. So I'll send them the box the first month, and then every month they're on a payment plan and the money comes out, and when the money clears, I will send them more images so that at the end of the payment plan, they have the full box. Now, the thing about credit cards is that when they're on an auto pay like that and it's just deducting, they're not getting the bill from me. The bill's just auto charging to their credit card. They're getting the bill from the credit card company. So they don't, not like me, they don't like their credit card company. All they know about me is that I'm sending them these really beautiful prints that are making them feel confident and sexy in the mail every month. And it's like looking for a present. The other thing that that does is that allows me to build steady income. Because if I book 3 sessions and they're on payment plans between $50 and I have somebody else at $150 and I have somebody else at $300, now I'm at, I don't even know, but we'll say I'm at $500 a month that's coming in from these 3 clients over here in various amounts. And then I book another session. So what I do with my company is I break it down and I know what the start and end dates are, because they'll pay that amount every month until it's paid in full. So on the 1st of the month or the 15th of the month, that money comes in and I let them pick. And I know that that's coming in. So even if I have $500 coming in and spread out over the next year, and Sally gets done in June and Sarah gets done in August and Jen gets done in December, I know that at least until June, I have $500 of steady guaranteed income coming in every month, even if I don't book anything else. Well, as you start to book those sessions, that starts to go up, and then eventually it hits a balance where even though when you get to June, so-and-so is paying theirs off and their payment's done, you've booked 3 more sessions that have come in on that now and is adding more money. And as one's dying off because their session's done, somebody else is booking you new and starting a new one. So that's how you start to build steady income. So I know now that I have $2,000 every month coming into my bank account, even if I don't work. I wouldn't have to work for the next 6 months, and that money would be coming into my bank account every single month without me working for a single day. So I can just look at it and go, you know, when we hit really good seasons where I have a lot of payment plans coming in and a lot of clients paying a lot of money, you know, all of a sudden I have $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 a month coming in for the next 6 months. I can be like, I'm going to take August off, you know, and I don't have to work at all. It makes it really easy for me to go, no, I don't feel like booking this month, or we're going to go here and do that. And then you have the other clients that are like, no, I just saved the money I'm going to pay. And it's like, no, I've got all my bills paid for the month. That $4,000 a month that you need is coming out of your payment plans and is steady income. So when this client pays in full and you have that extra $1,500 that you don't need for your budget, you go and you pay the babysitter and you take your wife out somewhere really nice for dinner and you tell her, yes, baby, I am going to take pictures of our child, our firstborn, because I am a good father.
All right, I'll take pictures of him.
That's your homework assignment. You can tell her that I said that you had to post some.
Well, she will love you. Not that she doesn't already, but
that's something that we can work on for you, because I feel like if we did that and set you up, and I can talk to you a little bit about the companies that I use and how I do that, that would alleviate that for you. Even if you wanted to keep your steady job now while you build it up, you could ramp that up until it's at the point that you go, okay, I feel confident quitting my job because I know right now that even if I don't book anything else for the next 6 months, I'm making that $4,000 a month. So I have 6 months to book new sessions and build it out. So you have like a little bit of lead time where you go, all the bills are paid in advance, and I know that I have all this time to add more to it and put this away. Would that
is brilliant, Jessica. Brilliant.
Okay. There we go. So that's what I want you to do. I want you to sit down with your wife, and I want you to figure out how much money you want to make. If $4,000 is what you want to make to keep everything great, that's great. If you want to make an extra $2,000 a month because you'd like to go out to eat, you're big movie buffs, you want to start a college fund because it's getting close to that time by now. Is what, 3 months? That's about when you have to start saving.
Well, we started about 6 years ago, so.
Yeah. So those kind of things, like, figure out what kind, not just, how to support your current lifestyle, but you want your dream job to support your dream life. That's the goal. That's what we're working towards.
Absolutely.
And then we'll look more into that when we do it again at your level 9 critique.
Okay.
Okay? How do you feel?
I feel good.
You did good. You can tell Ava you didn't cry.
I didn't cry.
And she'll be, I can't wait for her next critique. I'm going to make her bawl. It's going to be good. So,
Mackenzie made me promise that I would do this because you're on this diet.
Did Mackenzie tell you that I have the ability to take away all your karma points?
Well, we had this discussion that neither her or I know how many we have, so if you did take them away from us, it would probably be okay. Okay,
so you get a point for every point you scored in critique today, and you get points for every level that you clear. You get 10 points for every level, and they go up. So you just cross level 4, so you get 40 points. When you hit level 10, you can trade those points in at a rate of 1 point per minute for anything you need from me, for one-on-one time, for portfolio time, for marketing and branding, whatever. You can turn them in anytime you need anything from me. And I also am selling my books and my modeling releases and my contracts and stuff like that for points. Not all of them, not the new ones.
Well, yeah, not the ones that aren't done yet, but I own all the ones that you have so far.
Okay, so that's a lot of bargaining, and I'm putting you at negative 30,000 points right now for eating cookies in front of me because you're a terrible person.
That's fair. But she told me to do it, and I said I would, so I did.
Yeah, okay, Lemming.
Negative 30,000 points, so Mac, you owe me.
Yeah, you can take them from her because she's at like negative 11 billion. So that's it. I'm hanging up on you now. You did really good. I'm not putting you up to level 5 for 2 days now for that stunt, though.
That seems fair.
Okay.
Thanks.
Go spend some time with your family.
All right, and I will see you in a couple of weeks.
Yep, see you at level 9. Bye.
Bye.